The bride and groom, my friend, like they were going back to Alaska. So I was already like, how is this gonna play out? I was just so curious.
I asked for your number and you wouldn't give it to me.
It was like, as soon as I hugged him. I just met my husband. He's all I'm thinking about.
Oh, you straight up lied.
And then he walked in his boots and jeans. So I like was trying to get him away, and he was tall.
Last night was a movie.
Oh my word, there he is. She said, you know him, you like him, and you're gonna marry him. I just remember getting ready. When I walked outside of the room we were getting ready in, I walked into the sanctuary and I saw you walking from one room to the next, and we like stared at each other for a second.
Oh, I don't remember that.
And I was like, oh, there he is. That was the first time I'd seen you that day. The wedding happened. I was staring at you like the whole time.
And then right after the ceremony, before we went to the reception, you were sitting on the front row and I sat beside you because I was just trying to make conversation. Like in my mind, it was like, I just have to like be involved. Even if our conversation is awkward, like I'm not talking about anything that's like worth talking about, I don't care. I just have to like stand out. So I sat beside her about like we are now, and I go, did you think the service was long?
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Wait, where were we sitting?
The front row of the church right after the ceremony.
Yes. Right where we were talking about your suspenders the day before.
Yeah.
I remember that. You said, did you think the service was long?
Yeah.
Oh.
I couldn't think of anything else to say, so I asked her if she thought the ceremony was long. You came
I don't
off,
remember what I said.
You came off as very nonchalant, like you weren't really interested in me, because you said, not really.
Okay, well, also I was thinking, the whole time I was thinking, like, I do not want to reach out to him in any way, because I never wanted that. It was hard enough knowing that, like, okay, we're gonna date. The Holy Spirit's just told me that, like, this is my husband. So I didn't want to have any part in anything because I didn't want it to be me forcing it. So like I had to act like I was not interested, like I was not going to be that girl. I always tried not to be anyway like flirty or anything, but I just did not want it to be like me forcing anything. I just wanted him to like approach me if he was interested and leave it at that.
Yeah, and I think
that's all.
I think that's all that I said. I think after that somebody came up and talked to you. I just kind of faded away.
Oh, I do remember thinking how I was like, man, he would look so good if he was wearing a tie instead of a bow tie.
Yeah, she doesn't like bow ties.
Started like way back then.
I appreciate classy bow ties, and she thinks they look feminine. Y'all let us know in the comments which you like better, neckties or bow ties.
I just think a bow tie, like you put a bow on a little girl or a dog, not a man.
I get that.
I'm very practical. It's a bow. Then I just remember we drove
the reception venue.
Yes.
Didn't y'all get lost?
Yeah, I followed his other sister.
And I told her to follow me, but she didn't. We were all there talking. You were there, but I was talking to my sister. I was like, y'all can just follow me. I've got the address on my phone. I've already been there once. And she's like, oh, I've got it in my phone or whatever. And y'all went like the opposite direction from me.
Yeah. Again, I had no clue where I was. And it's kind of a rural area too.
Yeah.
I had no idea where the venue was. If you type it in on your GPS, it wouldn't show up. So my only hope was to follow anyone else. And I remember his sister specifically came up to me. She's like, you can just follow me. I had no idea where I was going, but I was following her. And I do remember it was like 30 minutes in, and this place is like, it was close to an hour away, a very long distance from the church. I remember like 25-30 minutes in, I was like, man, we're in the middle of nowhere. And we ended up being probably like 30 minutes late. I remember we had missed the whole, everyone was like announcing the bridal party. The guy who I was walking with, like he had to walk in by himself. So when we finally got there, I remember I was just looking for him. I was also looking for my family. My brother was in from college. And I do remember finally sat down and my brother came up to hug me because we hadn't seen each other in like 3 or 4 months. And I remember he came up and hugged me. He's like my age. We're like 2 years apart. And I remember looking at you like I was still trying to find you. We made eye contact like right when we were hugging. And I was like, no, he's gonna think he's like my boyfriend or something and not my brother. So I like was trying to get him away, and I was trying not to talk to him like at any point during the night because I didn't want him to think I was talking to someone. Because I remember you looked at like it was like as soon as I hugged him.
I don't remember that.
Could have been in my mind, but I was like, no.
I do remember seeing your brother talking with your parents though, and I thought, oh, must be her brother. Whatever you did must have worked.
And then the only thing that we said that night too, we were in line for food, like he was just right behind me, and I was
again,
like,
just trying to be a presence, not having anything worth to say.
Around.
Like I didn't have anything good to say. I just was there. Yeah.
But I remember we were just holding our plates like just in the buffet line. You were like, I bet you'll never follow my sister again, will you?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, they were like 30 minutes late or something, or she got lost. And that was it.
That sounds about right.
Like, I remember at the end of the wedding, my mom was the coordinator, and she was asking everyone to help clean up. And he was always the one, like, coming back for more, and he was just had the best manners, and he was like, oh yeah, what do you need help with? He was helping to move like all the chairs, put everything away, and then he walked in his boots and jeans, like he brought a change of clothes.
I wasn't wearing jeans.
Which I still think they were khakis. I still think that it was a red flannel, but he thinks it was a blue one.
It was a blue flannel.
I do not remember much at all, so when I remember something, I'm very stubborn about it. I think it was a red flannel.
And I tend to be very observant in general,
very observant.
So I just don't think I'm wrong.
That's one we'll just never know. I do remember when he changed, because at this point all I'd seen him in was like suspenders and a bow tie. I just love the boots and jeans. Like nothing beats that. Just the manly look. So when he walked in, because you know how your style just says so much about the person. You know, I didn't know if he was gonna walk in like sneakers and joggers.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know, in a hoodie. But when he walked in with boots and jeans, like that was his look. I was like, oh my goodness. His muscles are so big. He was tall. But anyways, I remember that, and my mom was like loving it because like they were so well mannered, him and all his brothers, and just helped her with everything. And I didn't
even know she was your mom. I obviously didn't know this part, but I was talking to my future mother-in-law. So I'm just glad I made a good impression.
Yeah, literally. I drove home with my brother that night, and literally the whole ride home, like that hour, I was so sad because I was like, man, that's it. Like, he's going back to Alaska. I was sad about my friend too. Like, I wasn't gonna see her. She just got married, moving back to Alaska. Like, I just met my husband, and I don't know the next time we're gonna see each other. Could be years down the road. And then I was thinking, like, am I gonna end up moving to Alaska? Like, is that how we're gonna meet? And then I remember I got home. You followed me. Like, it wasn't long after. Like, I didn't even get to follow you first. You followed me on Facebook and Instagram. Looking. And then you posted a song, like, I love this band, Speechless by Dan and Shay.
Oh, wow.
And I played it, and I was thinking all these things. But when I played it because he had just posted on a song, like, I love this song. And it was talking about the girl, like, in the dress. And I was like, maybe that was me, like, in my head.
It was.
I thought it was because you were, like, talking to me and stuff. But I was like, no.
Yeah, it was for you.
I was hoping it was. But that song now, like, always reminds me of us.
That's nice. I didn't know that. After the wedding, I just remember the reception. I kept like staring at you. I figured probably your family was wondering why I was staring at you.
We didn't talk about your speech. That's the best part.
That's what I was about to say. I gave the best man speech. I mean, it was just a speech to me. I felt like I did okay.
It was so funny. It was the best man speech ever. My family, okay, they don't know who he is, obviously. I told no one. Like, I didn't tell any of my friends. We had all gone out to lunch like a few days later after church one day. We were just talking about the wedding, and I remember my aunt and uncle and my parents, like, they brought up the best man speech, and they were just talking about how good it was and like whoever he was. And in my mind, I'm like, he's all I'm thinking about, you know. Like, they had no idea.
Funny.
Even the night of, when he was speaking during the wedding, I was just like staring at him the whole time, and I was like, he's so good at public speaking, what in the world? And like, such a good storyteller. I looked over at my aunt, and she was like literally,
was she really?
She put her hand in her shirt, like her heart was beating so fast. She looked at my mom and was doing that, like, he's so handsome and he's such a good, like, it was just such a good speech. Everyone talks about it still to this day.
So after the wedding, it was pretty much radio silence. I didn't get her number. I didn't get her Snapchat. I had her Instagram.
I just remember I wasn't going to say anything.
The wedding was October 20th. I believe we went to Scaremare
a week later.
End of October. We went to Scaremare at Lynchburg. I had asked my sister, the one that she was closer with, can you invite Courtney? Because my sister had her number. I did not.
The last, like, I was literally walking out of the wedding, and I remember his sister came up to me. She's like, oh, can I get your number? Like, we should hang out. And I was like, thank you.
I think I may have asked her. I cannot remember.
Yeah.
But it's a total possibility. I may have asked my sister to do that.
Fast forward a week later.
Yep.
Remember, she texted me and I was at work. She's like, hey, do you want to go to this thing called Scaremare? It was like around Halloween, and it was like a Christian thing. And I was like, yeah, sure. And like, I knew it was just for us. Like, at that point, I knew she was like setting us up. And I just remember that whole day, I was like, it's happening. So I guess he's just gonna stay in Virginia a little bit longer. Like, I still had no clue why he was still even here.
Oh, you just figured I was going straight back to Alaska?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had no idea. Because they had told me, like, oh yeah, he just flew in that weekend for the wedding.
Then comes Scaremare, and we all met at the church I was going to at the time, because it was a youth group thing. My youth group was going to Scaremare. I do remember, like, before we got there, me and my friend, like, she was my best friend, we worked at the same place. And I remember, like, the day after the wedding, I went to work, and she was asking me how the wedding was. We were just talking about it. I was like, yeah, it was fine. And she wanted to see some pictures. I remember we were just looking at them, and it came to, all I had was like a Facebook post from like the bride. There was one picture, it was him and all of his brothers, or all of the groomsmen actually, and there was 10 groomsmen. It was a lot of guys. My best friend was just looking at him, and she paused when she came to that photo, and she was like, who is that?
like this one here, and she pointed a picture of him, and she's like, this one with the glasses, who is he? And I, like, my face turned beet red. I was so nervous. I was like, I don't know, I don't even know his name. She's like, yes you do, you know who he is. She said, you know him, you like him, and you're gonna marry him. And I was just like freaking out because I already knew it. And
that's crazy.
We hadn't even talked, we were not texting. She was like, you like him and you're gonna marry him. And that was it. I was like, I don't know him, okay, I don't know who he is, we're not gonna, that's crazy. At this point I had never had a boyfriend, so I was like, you know, I'm not dating until I know who he, you know, who I'm gonna marry, all that stuff. We were working on Friday, which was the day before Scare Mare, and I remember I got dressed to go up there at work. She was just giving me a hard time. She's like, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to Scare Mare with some friends. And I told her it was the bride's sister-in-law. And she was like, you're only going up there to see that boy, aren't you? And I was like, no, I don't even know him. He's not going to be there. And
oh, you straight up lied.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know you were going to be there. But I was just like, that's not why I'm going. I don't know if he's going to be there or not, you know.
Yeah, I didn't have any of that, really. Nothing crazy. I mean, my sister and I talked, and she's like, what do you think? I mean, I just said, well, I mean, I don't know her. I haven't talked to her. She's really pretty. Everything I hear about her is really good, but I just want to get to know her a little better.
Pulling in the parking lot to drive to Scare Mare. That was huge for me. At this point, I still didn't know if he was even gonna be there. I thought I was just going to hang out with his sister. So I remember I was very upset because my mom wouldn't let me drive. It was an hour away and it's windy roads. This area is just kind of rough. But my mom and dad were like, for whatever reason, like I literally had driven at that point to Mississippi by myself. Like I could not understand why I couldn't go an hour away by myself. So I was already upset about that, but I was like, it's fine. My mom ended up driving me. And so in my head, I'm like, if he's there, he's gonna think I'm like 16, 15, I can't drive.
I did notice that.
Yeah, but anyways, and when I got there, I realized he wasn't there. But still, I was like, I still like his sister. I still just want to go to hang out, so it's fine. I remember I walked in, and I still didn't know anyone, and she was like an adult leader, so she was busy. So I ended up just making small talk with like a few people. It wasn't until like we were right about to leave that you got there. And then you walked in and I was like, oh my word, there he is. And he came up to me and we started making small talk. And that was like the first conversation we ever really had. Because you asked me like what my hobbies were, you know, if I worked anywhere. And like we actually had a conversation, which was nice. He went away for a second and that was right when we were all like loading in the bus. I just remember I was like, I hope he sits next to me. And you did. Like you climbed in right behind me and I was like, thank the Lord. Then it scared me. We were like together the whole time.
Yeah.
Walk together.
Yeah, I felt this primal urge to just like protect her from all these fake scary things. So I would like whatever side the like pig faced man.
I was actually really glad you did that.
Whatever side like the pig faced man was on, I would like go on that side and then I would just kind of like float to the other side. I don't know
really
why.
Appreciate it though.
They are kind of obnoxious.
I had never been, I don't think.
Neither had I. It's the only time I've ever gone. I wasn't gonna go if my sister said you weren't coming. Yeah, they were kind of getting obnoxious. Yeah,
that was
and then
a fun night. Then we went to McDonald's.
We went to McDonald's. We got food and rode back in the van again, talked the whole way.
But I remember you opened the doors for me the whole night. He threw away my trash at McDonald's.
Did I really?
Yeah, you like got my tray and everything. I was like, he's so nice. Like he has manners. I was just like so excited.
You were wearing jeans. I don't remember what shoes you were wearing. But you were wearing skinny jeans. I think you were wearing your Timbs.
I was.
And then you were wearing your jean coat with the Sherpa white Sherpa collar. And the flannel on the inside. I was wearing a flannel. That's so sweet. I remember though, you were like, oh, I love your outfit. And then his sister was like, oh yeah, you look so cute. And y'all were like hyping me up. I was like, this is awesome. Last night was a movie. After we got out of McDonald's, we loaded back up in the van, started going down the road, started just having good conversation again. Somewhere between McDonald's and the church is when I asked for her Snapchat. I don't really remember how that went down. I think I asked for your number and you wouldn't give it to me. And so I got your Snapchat. If you remember, go ahead and tell it. I don't remember that part, but it sounds like something I would do. I do remember he asked for my Snapchat at whatever point and I could not remember my name. And I thought it was gonna look like I just was trying to give him a fake account because I did that a lot too, but I was like not actually trying to give you the wrong one. Like I said my name and I added an extra 7 and no name came up and you just looked at your phone and you were like, it's okay, like, if you don't want to give it to me. Like, it totally looked like, and I was like, no, I just got the name wrong. And I was, like, trying so hard to remember. That's
I was like,
funny. I don't remember that.
Because I didn't use Snapchat, like, any social media really that much. So I couldn't remember my name. And finally, I was like, can I look it up, like, on your phone? So I typed it in, and it came up, and I was like, thank the Lord. Still to this day, too, my mom talks about it. When she came to pick me up, I got in the car. My mom says that I was, like, the happiest I've ever been. She said I smiled like the whole way home And I remember just being so happy because I was like, he got my Snapchat. We're gonna talk now. Like we basically hung out the whole night, and he was just so sweet. Everything I ever like prayed for and stuff. And my mom noticed it, like still to this day. She's like, you were literally so happy that night, and you just smiled the rest of the night. Did you have anything like that? You just went home and went to sleep?
No, I thought about you for sure, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to rush the gun. I didn't want to make it look like I was like obsessed or anything.
It worked.
What do you mean?
Because I was like, oh, that was nothing. Because like 2 days went by.
Yeah, it was like another day or two.
Yeah.
And then I was at a friend's house, and I was like talking to him, you know, I was like asking what I should do. And he's like, well, have you reached out to her yet? And I'm like, no, I haven't really known what to say. And he's like, dude, it doesn't matter what you say, but you got to say something because she's going to lose interest. And apparently she wasn't going to lose interest because we were already married in her book.
It wasn't like that though. I made sure to not like act on it.
Yeah, so I was clueless to that, obviously. Yeah. He was like telling me all that, and I was like, oh, you're probably right. I should send her a snap. So I took a picture of a TV screen. I was at my friend's house, and I just asked her, this is the first Snapchat I sent to her, do you like New Girl?
Have you seen New Girl?
Have you seen New Girl? It's so random. I don't even watch the show anymore. It's not even really that good. That was that. It was really random. But she answered and said, you know, no, I've never seen it. Is it good or whatever? And that's when we started officially talking. That's how we met.
I remember, though, from my perspective, like 2 days had gone by. All I thought about that night was him. I thought he was gonna message me like as soon as he got home. The whole next day, I was like, maybe he'll text me today. I remember I had so much school that week with my dual enrollment classes. So I kind of just stopped thinking about it. And I remember I was just in my room alone. I was just studying. And then I got a Snapchat from Grant Bryan. I was like, oh my word, that's him.
That's
like he
funny.
just Snapchatted me. It was like the craziest moment. And then it was just, have you seen New Girl? And I was like, huh. It's not what I expected to be
not
the
really
first
what you
message,
thought.
but that's how it started.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
So cute.
Pro tip.
I'll edit that out.
Just pro tip. Just
yeah. I'm sorry, baby. Pro tip.
So there it is.
Pro tip.
There it is. That's how we met. That's the story. If y'all want the next chapter, let us know and we can film a video on that.
If you guys like this video, then definitely subscribe, and we will see you next week with a new video. Bye, guys.
See ya.